Howdy folks, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today what I want to show you is typical bulging and cracking, stress cracks because there's no expansion screed at the bottom of this house here. Generally there's a drip screed, or we call it a weep screed. It's put on the mud sill and it allows the stucco to breathe, but it's on the foundation here, so something's going to give. And the fact that this is cracked right here, this is buckled, it's not a big deal. In fact, it's normal under the circumstances. What I came here and I was talking with the homeowner and I said, you know, if I were you, you can take the whole stucco off to the window here and replace it all. That's the right way to do it. And he says, well, I don't want to do that. What's the other way? I said, well, this stucco was bulging out a bit. I said, you can get some real screws. They're super strong screws and lag bolted kind of back into the frame. And this was out to here, so it really worked. He drilled some holes here and then he pulled it, he sucked it right back into there and a few other places here. Now, he said about a few years back he had a fellow do this. Now this is smooth. That all they did was they put it on with a trowel and left it. Now this is what we consider a dash finish. We call it a dash finish because, like in the old days, kneeling on sticker bushes, in the old days they'd call dash of salt. So you mix up some soupy mud and you throw it on. That's what they did here, and that's what they have here is a heavy float finish. So this is a bit too heavy, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my trowel and just where they got it all over this vent, get it off. You get the idea. And I'm using the heel of my trowel. That's the firmest. I don't want to start using it like a hammer this way. I use my heel. I get it off best I can. And over here where we got this crack, I use the same thing, the heel. Now it looks like somebody put some interior plaster here. You can't do that, guys. Whoa, now we got a crack going on here. So, well, you always uncover something when you start to do the exploration. Now, I didn't know this guy was going to be here, and I'll tell you something. I'm looking at what they have here. The paper's intact, which is a good sign. The paper's intact, that's a good sign. We get all that stuff out of here. I'll show you a quick way we repair this. Okay, I can see the wood lath here. Generally what I'll do is I'll take some caulking. The paper's in great condition, and I'll put a little bit of caulking in here. And because I'm not certain of what's going on here, I'm going to put some caulking back there too. Although the paper is not broke, a little caulking is not going to hurt it. And I'm going to take this same procedure and follow this crack up, but that's not what I'm going to do right now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some plaster weld or Weldcrete. This is a bonding agent which allows stucco to adhere to a painted surface. Over here where they have a smooth finish, I'm going to put it on heavy and cover that smooth finish because I want to give it the correct finish. And over here where they have the dash finish, I'm going to skim coat that too. And I have the luxury of being right here up front where I could see what I'm doing. And I want to bring this stucco here out to the wood strip here, so I don't really need to take it down any further. So I'm going to give this about 5 minutes time for this bonding agent to dry a little bit and explore what we got going up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some stucco and just go right over this. I'm going to put a little bit more caulking inside here, inside this hole. And in about 5 minutes we'll restart that camera and I'll show you how we quickly skim it and fix it. All right guys, we've allowed this Weldcrete to set up just a little bit and explored a little bit more here, guys. Keep in mind, if I was to just put stucco in here, it would be rigid and it would crack again sooner. A little bit of caulking here gives it a little bit of flex. Will this re-crack? Absolutely. Is it best to pull it all off? Absolutely. But again, for the sake of just showing you how to quickly correct it cosmetically. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm pushing this in tight, pushing it in tight, squeezing it in there. A lot of elbow grease right there, guys. Here, push it in tight. And whoever did this before me, they actually used an interior plaster patch. Never use that on the outside, guys, because when it gets wet, it resorts back to what it was originally. And that is powder. Okay, here where they skimmed it, I'm going to re-skim it myself. The only difference is I'm leaving a little bit of aggregate sand. These fellows came in here and they did just like this and left it like that. I'll show you how we achieved this float finish using what they left us. Okay, now here where they have the dash finish, and you say, what's a dash finish? That just means they threw it on with a dash brush. They mixed up some soupy cement, and they like this bucket here. It's got hard cement. They mixed it up soupy, put a dash brush in, and flung it on there, and that's what you have here. But that's not what they started off with. So we give them what they originally have. All right, now we allow that to set a couple seconds. I move this bucket out of my way, get this out of here, and this is called a sponge float. Sponge float just means it's a sponge with a handle. And what I want to do now is kind of a crappy one, but I can make this work. What I want to do now is I want to bring out the aggregate. I take the water. If this was dry, it would just push it in like a trowel, but right now you see water's coming out. So I'm going to start up top and work my way down. And generally what I'm going to do is I'm squishing it in there. I'm going in there a little tighter than it looks. Use a little bit of elbow grease, guys. More skill than anything. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at this finish. That's what we call a heavy float finish, and this is what I'm doing, floating it. So I bring the aggregate out and I push it in there tight. That way it's less likely to hairline, and we just follow what we have here. And now that I'm starting to drag it, I'm going to add more water. Okay, I'm going to add more water because it's starting to drag now, which means it's not going to match. Now let me get this nasty little rose bush out of the way. I'm going to take the sponge float and sponge this, meaning I'm going to bring the aggregate out. That just means bring the sand out. Before, a second ago, it had a smooth trowel finish. So when they painted it, it enhanced the flaws. Painting does not cover flaws, it enhances them. So there it is, that matches here. Now for the top piece, I wanted to compress this in there tight, and we've done that now. And now I'm just pressing it in there again tight, and this is called feathering in the edge. We feather in the edge, feather it in, make it pretty, wow, like so. And now where they have the dash finish, this is that area that they threw it on. They shouldn't have thrown it on, they should have used a sponge float and just brought it out. And so what I'm going to do is, just like I did on those on the top and as well as the side there, I'm going to bring out the aggregate. And this is feathering in the joint. And by the way, guys, that bonding agent I use, you could use any color bonding agent. I've seen green, blue, white, the majority of them are white. And the cement I'm using is what we call a rapid set. You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the major hardware stores. Rapid set means it sets fast, guys. It sets real fast. So I'm taking it here, cleaning up my wood, and unlike the other fella, he didn't clean his vent. Old Kirk cleans his vent. Clean that vent, get all that crap off. That way the homeowner won't yell at me and say, Kirk, you know better than the last guy. We take it, we bring the sand out, bring it out. That's what, when painted, will match in real well. The last thing I have is little details here and there. I could see them because I'm right on the wall. Camera may not show them, but there's that right here. Just look at it, match it, just takes an eye for it, and pretty soon we've got a perfect match now. And that's matching 2 to 3 different finishes. That's fixing some odd stuff that they have here with the wall. That is waterproofing. It's taking care of a lot of details. And we just clean this up again right there, get all that stucco off the vent. Anyhow, folks, my name is Kirk, Jason on the camera. That's how you do a simple fix like this. It's a lot of stuff going on, but if you know what you're doing, piece of cake. Anyhow, Jason and I thank you for watching, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one.